Today we have a very special guest. I've known Charlie for many years. I think we've known Charlie for many years. And you take a seat. We've known Charlie for many years, and Charlie was actually one of our students. But I want to mention a few very important things about Charlie and the work he's doing. A little bit of background on Charlie and how far his journey has gone since he has left our university. Charlie runs some game-related courses, especially in the northern Taiwan area, but his ideas are spreading pretty fast throughout Taiwan. Through his game-related courses, he has been able to run teachers' study programs, themed speeches. He's also cooperating with at least 2 universities. Currently he's cooperating with 2 universities on implementing gaming in the learning environment. He's had some really, he's had some achievements that make us look at him and think, wow, a young man with so much passion can definitely bring a lot, not just to other young people, but also to us who need more ideas on how to run our ESL courses. He's done a game design on the Hakka Lion. He's done a game design for the art park. He's an advocate for board games. He's an advocate. He's not just a trainer, he's an advocate, and he runs some program. He's got an achievement as a board game trainer that's also involved in civic literacy. He's been on TV, he's been on Hsinchu News, and you can easily access the video of him implementing a game he designed for the county government there. Charlie is an entrepreneur in his field and a great startup, and he should be supported in his journey. It is so wonderful to have Charlie here to speak to us about how we can implement board games into our classes. I've had this idea for a long time, and Charlie fits in very well with that idea, that a lot of the things that would change our world in the future, you will find in the underground, with the underground culture. Board games has come from the underground culture to the mainstream to teach us a very important lesson. And I hope we continue to be taught by the underground culture and what we can bring to our classes. Why not? One day let's have hip-hop also. And the BMX culture and other kinds of culture. It is time that we gave other people a voice, and Charlie is an advocate in that area. And so thank you for coming to teach us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Yes, Joseph has covered over half of my presentation. Okay, so welcome. Very, very huge thanks to Joseph and the teachers from DAFO, and welcome everyone from the other universities. My name is Yu Fai Liao. You can call me Charlie. And today I will talk about ESP, a board gaming approach. Okay, so now I will introduce what is board game. Board game is tabletop games played on the tabletop with people face to face. Okay, every board game has their own specific rules. So each box is different with different stories. And in each game, people will want to learn there's a win condition. So people want to strive, and they want to achieve the goal, how to win the game. Either together, either by cooperating or by against each other. Okay, board games can be a simulation of real life situations. You play the game, by playing the game, you play as a certain character, a certain role that maybe you cannot be in real life, but nonetheless you play as a certain character. For example, this game, Pandemic, is a game about disease. So there's a killer disease spread all around the world. And all the players are rescue specialists, medical specialists. And we want to cooperate, and we want to teamwork and to cure the disease all around the world. So this is a co-op game, and you play as a certain profession or character. And the rules of the game can function, portray the nature of the event. So by playing the rules, you actually learn a lot about far more difficult subject. But by playing the rules, you can learn how it is processed. Like this one is called Acquire. This game, we are all hotel tycoons. And we invest in these hotels. So the hotel brands, there are various hotel brands, and we want to invest in which brand will grow to the best. So this is an investing game, and some hotel will actually go bankrupt. They will lower in the stock. Some hotel will merge others, and it is up to you to decide which one you want to merge, which one you want to purchase. So. Of course, in real life, maybe not all of us have the opportunity to decide such a decision. But by playing the game, you gain experience. You gain the idea of how operations and how business work. Okay, so what is composed in a game? What are the key elements in one game? One is luck. So by rolling the dice, by drawing the cards, maybe you get lucky, and that causes you to win the game. One is strategy. The more you think, the more steps you think ahead. Like chess, and the more steps you think ahead, that can lead you to a chance, the more chance that you win the game, because you think more thoroughly and you have more experience in the game. The other is diplomacy. Okay, we work with others. Hey, we work together to fight against the others. And by teaming up, you can also have a more chance of winning the game. And so each game has a different ratio of these three elements. Take example for Monopoly. Monopoly, family game, right? And you roll a dice. It's a family game, so luck has a lot in the Monopoly game. Maybe you think very hard, oh, how do I win this game? But in the end, somebody, maybe my mom, can win by luck, a pure chance of luck. And she rolled very lucky. And I always ended up getting in the jail. And some other games, they have more ratio in the strategy. Yes. And what is good about board game, it is a very good activity for people to stay away from iPads, from the phone, to communicate, to get to know your families, your friends. Again, like in the Chinese New Year, maybe we can not play Mahjong for once and play some other new games. The games, why do they fascinate us? Okay, modern published games, they have three elements. One is the illustration, the art style. They are portrayed by very talented artists. Every game can have a very different art style. Can be very simple, can be very cute, can be very medieval, close to reality. And the other is the rules. We buy the game because the rules is fun. The mechanics is unique. The way we play the games. And thirdly, the theme, the story about the game. Okay, so themes about traveling, themes about stock market. This will be the other reason that we buy this game. So take this game for example. This game is called Love Letter, and it's a very easy game, a card game that all of us are going to chase the princess. We want to get the princess' attention, but the princess locked herself in the palace. So we have to communicate with the people who work in the palace, either the palace guards, the jester, the king, the queen, to get them to pass your love letter to the princess. So this is how to play the game. The same game, the same rules. They put Adventure Time, the famous cartoon, So they made a brand new game about it. Exactly the same way to play it, but this time we chased a cartoon character from Adventure Time, a princess from Adventure Time. This with cute fonts, very cute comical fonts. This will be more appeal to the younger audience. The audience, the children that watch the Adventure Time cartoon, they'll be more appeal to a game like this. But fundamentally, it's from the same game. They have the same rules. And this one is they have a more like a Baroque painting style, the fonts. This will be more appeal to the adults, for the ones who appreciate the historical arts. But for children, I don't want, the children don't want to see this. Yes, and for the same game, we put Batman, the comic Batman in it. Batman love letter. Capture the inmates from Arkham Asylum. Okay, and this game we played in the same rules, but this time we don't capture no princess. There's no princess in Arkham. The princess become the Joker, and the players become Batman and Robins. And we want to go around and see who captures the Joker first. Exactly the same rules, but we changed the theme, we changed the story, and it turned out to be a completely different game. And still that people love. Because people love the rules, people love the comic, people love the characters. So different kind of audience, different clientele would buy the game. This is a very key element to the topic I'm going to talk later, that we as teachers, we can use the same rules, but we implement different stories and themes. Everyone can have an equal chance at the table, and everyone try their best to play the game. It's not that if you lose the game, you lose forever. By playing the game, everyone has the same equal chance to win it. And so what the game can train to provide the students, or the benefits to oneself, you can train concentration, memory, logic thinking, confidence. We want to, because some students, when they come over, maybe they don't know all the words. They're only elementary school year 1, year 2. They still not know all the words. They are very scared to communicate with other people. We want them to practice, to be confident, and to communicate with each other. And the spirit to challenge the game, to challenge after the game, after our session, to challenge the schools, not the schools, the exams. Yes, because from their daily life, maybe they have the habit of cheating. Maybe they have the habit of sneaking, sneak to see somebody's cards. By playing the game, by watching them playing the game, we can see such a thing happen, and we notice these things, and then we can help them, let them get rid of the bad habits. Okay, and so this is to oneself, and to the group, to a group of people, Go game can be a very good ice-breaking material. You can give you a lot of imagination, inspire you to new ideas. It can also provide sportsmanship, how to not cheat, how to be nice to other people when you meet other people. If I lose, I will be very angry and I will swear, and then nobody will want to play with you. Yes, so Go game can, the more you play, the more people you meet, the more social skills you can develop. And also it's a very good tool for teamwork building. Some companies, some groups, they actually have sessions of all their employees. They gather and play group games, and by changing an environment from work to playing, they have more chance to get to know each other. And also for the kids, maybe before they joined the board game club, they were very timid, they were very shy. They had no chance to meet other friends. But by playing the game with maybe people from other class, they made more friends. They have one more chance to present themselves. And this is what we want to provide them. We want to provide a safe, a bully-free environment for the students to game, and through gaming to learn about how to respect and how to make friends with others. This is something that's not quite existent on textbook or workbooks. So in short, yes, this is last, yes. In short, board game is, I look at it as a language that everyone can speak. Why is it a language? Because in order to play it, to share it, you have to learn. Oneself has to learn it first. To read through the rules and to present it to other people. So other people can speak the common language, the game language, and the people can communicate and play together. Also, it is the perfect medium to spread passion and enthusiasm, the same attitude that we want to spread to more people. This is what we want to convey through the board games. So this is a very interactive and very scenario-based. Okay, now about the ESP, English for Specific Purposes. And a lot of you teach ESP in the universities. And so ESP is a very specialized course for university students, be it academic, or for people in employment, be it professional. They provide very specific workplace vocabulary and skills, and they focus on occupations like technical, scientific, medical. So the students are required to have a very basic knowledge of English already in order to take the advanced course. So what ESP provides? The course provides scenarios for the students to participate. They create a scene, an activity that students want to partake. So activities of the discipline. Students, they take roles, they role play to simulate the actual workplace situations. So this is one part of the ESP course. So now we're merging. We are combining the two together. Okay, some very old school fusion. Okay, so I call this BGESP, Board Game English for Specific Purposes. What do they share commonly? They are communicative, they are field specific, they are very specific, and they included the vocabularies needed. Through the scenario, they provide a hands-on experience where they involve face-to-face with each other. You can create scenarios, you can create stories based on what you want to teach, what is your topic. And moreover, it's fun and exciting. It's a board game session, and students will expect, hey, teacher, what game we're going to play next time. They will be more exciting about the session. That's what we wanted to. First, we want to look for the games, right? The first step, we want to look for the games. A lot of board games are simulation games. So they simulate they simulate the stock market. They simulate how the stock market works, the process. They simulate Japanese landscape and how people work there. And we want to look for cultural reference games. So the games that they pack a lot of they pack a lot of art that is about our topic, and games with the correct themes about occupation. So there are games about, can we look for a game about medical, about surgery? We got that. Can we look at a game about aviation, about airplanes? We got that. Can we look at a game about trains, about the railroad management? We got that. So all these games, we want to look for the correct material to our teacher. So this game is about chemistry. It's called Ion, a compound building game. In this game, why study chemistry when you can play it? Okay, in this game, we are scientists. We collect positive and negative elements, by fusing them into compounds fusing into compounds. Fusion, they will count as more points. And believe it or not, the method of them fusing, the rules of them fusing, one negative needs to add with one positive, right? If you have something that is with two positive, you need another two negative to form a fusion. That is the rule of chemistry. Believe it or not, this game actually combines game rules with chemistry rules. Chemistry has rules. Every profession has rules. They made the rules to function in the game, and they made it very playable, very enjoyable. And don't know about chemistry, but you can still play the game. You know how the compounds will work. Like these. These are noble gas. Noble gas is an air type that is not easily combined with others. That's why they're called nobles. So these are presented as a very rare card in this game. So this game has a lot of cards, and by collecting noble gases, collecting all the different noble gases scores you higher points, because this is a very rare thing to happen. And the game also demonstrates what happens if various ions, various elements combine. What they will create? Soap. Soap is created by these elements. Rays are combined by these elements. And below, a very small text box that is not relevant to the rules is the explanation of this element. So by playing the game, you don't have to read the text box. But if you're interested, you can study further. Okay? And the game comes with various elements, halogens, alkali metals, metal elements, noble gases, and also nuclear. So by playing the game, you want to collect these elements, and you want to make the best combination, the best compound to score the highest points. Each turn, they will give you goals you want to achieve. They will give you a goal. Please fuse soap for me. Please fuse some elements for me. If you fuse this, you get extra points. It's very well illustrated as well. In chemistry, scientists would draw charts. They will draw charts about how the elements are fused. And actually on each card, you can notice the balls, the small, these are ions. The ions are different in each card because they present the actual, what does the compound look like. They actually present on the cards. So these, taken aside the game element, these are very good teaching materials that you can take and use when you are talking about this topic. Rather than writing a lot of scripts on the board, you can just take these cards that have the illustrations, that have all the explanations, and present them to the students. They have a very more physical, straightforward idea about what you are trying to convey. Right. Next is a game about stock market, about stock trading. It's called Stockpile. And in this game, you are share investors. Okay. Each of you are share investors. You look through each company. You have insights to the market to know that which company is going to go up in stock or which company is going to drop on the stock. And you invest in these companies' stock. So the basic about these type of game, you want to buy low and sell high. What's more special? Why did I choose this one? Because this one has a very precise portrayal of the stock, how the stock market functions. Okay, so these different colors are different companies. The meter is their stock prices. So when they go up, when they go to the top, that is when they divide. They will divide their stock, and all the shareholders will get a bonus from that. And if you through playing the game, this meter will move up and down, and you can actually manipulate these meters If they drop to zero, the company bankrupts. And all the stockholders have to forfeit all their stock from this company because they are worth penniless. And what you can do, what you can decide in this game, because you are all investors, you can choose when to liquidify your stock. Oh, this is gonna drop. I know this is gonna drop, right? So I will sell it now to get currency. Or you know it has a potential of rising. I will keep this stock market. I will keep this stock. In the future turns, they will give me more value. They'll give me more profit. Actually, these companies, they represent fields. So there's car industry, there's industrial, there's electricity. So these are the companies that you can invest. This one is called Hotel Grand Austria. This is a hotel management. So what this game does, each of us manage a hotel. You manage what staff you're gonna employ. You manage what kind of rooms you wanna build. And this is the gaming board. Whether your hotel want to build a canteen, you want to build a swimming pool for your hotel, and for each settlement you build, that will fit different kind of customers will come to visit. Some are commercial customers, they just want the easiest, the basic setup. Some are high-class customers. They want the highest standard. And if you didn't build your hotel accordingly, maybe you cannot attract these kind of customers. This game actually is pretty complicated. Downside about simulation games. Simulation games, although they convey a lot about the topic, they are very correct in the theme, but they are also really complicated in play. Probably by learning the rules, the students will spend a lot of time, and by doing that, they will be distracted from the course. So this is not what we want to do. We want to learn about this game, learn how they function, and we take the essence. We want to simplify them so they convey our main topic. Okay, so that's why I didn't bring this one, because if we play this one, it will be an hour past just for this game. Yes. And this one is about tourism. This is called Tokaido. Tokaido is the Eastern Sea Line, a traveling route ancient Japan used to have. Okay, and in this game, we take part as travelers. We go back in time and we travel across Tokaido, this trading route. A total of 53 trading stations that was hosted by the government. Merchant would walk the Tokaido. This is the map. So this is a coastal line. This is the gaming board, and it's actually the map of Japan. From Edo to Kyoto. Edo is current Tokyo. Okay, so merchant will walk for a very long time. I think it takes a month walking to walk through 500 kilometers. And through these 500 kilometers, the government actually set up resting stops. And you have to get a pass permit to go through the resting stops. Through this route, trading route, they trade food. They trade food. They trade clothes. They trade clothes, products. They trade antiques. And through this route, you will also meet a lot of interesting people from that era. They are portrayed by character cards. And you meet these different kind of personnel. They will provide you, they will help you with different kind of needs. And so we race through Tokaido. In this process, this is a tourism route. Through this route, we meet interesting people from that era. We collect antiques. We go shopping. We go shopping to buy all the what do they used to sell in that place. We eat gourmets. A lot of the gourmets still exist in current time. You can eat a lot of them. And you see the scenery. You see the wonderful scenery. Portrayed on the cards. One card is not enough. So they put a series of cards. This is when you go sightseeing. Okay, this is the famous place. And the Fuji Mountains. The Fuji Mountains. So by collecting these sites, you get points, you score points. This is a very easy game to play, and through playing, you journey through ancient Japan, and you learn about udon noodles, donburi rice, okay, close to lunchtime, yes. And you learn about the culture portrayed in photos, portrayed in work, and also you learn about the different characters, the roles that they used to exist. Okay, so all of us know that there were samurais, there were daimyos. I want to tell you that the game is still a game. The idea that I just said, but we can modify the game to suit what we want to do. We can simplify it, we can add more information to it, like the cards, right? So it has no actual background story or more detail. If I want to know more about udon noodles, it has no further background details. We can add this to our courses. We can print our own cards that fits our scenarios. And as long as it plays by the rules, it plays by these rules, it will function perfectly. It will fit into the game. And what I mean by set up a specific scenario, I will demonstrate by the stock market game. Alright, so later you will learn about how this game functions, how the stock market runs. This is just the basic, right? It doesn't fit the actual situation, right? So, for example, today my topic is financial depression. Okay, what happens, what the stock will reflect while we are in the depression era. I can modify when the company goes bankrupt. I can modify the chance that this stock goes up or down. I can modify when we draw a certain card, depression would happen. And through the students playing the modified version, they would actually experience what a financial depression is. So through each game, like this one, we want to create scenarios. Okay, so we take these components, we set up scenarios for the students. I will set up a commercial. I set up what a commercial hotel has. Okay, has the basic rooms, has the basic services, and you have a few number of staffs. You present this to the students. Okay, this is your topic. What would you do if you are managing this model of a hotel? I can build another model about a high-class hotel, a top-end hotel. And what would you do? What strategy would you implement when you are running this kind of hotel? This is the scenarios that we can make, the scenarios that the students of ESP can go through, and let the students partake in it. Okay, so first we design the scenario, right? And what I mean by students partake in it, we have to design all the scenarios by ourselves. We can assign students. We can, one of them do the depression, express how to express the depression era from portrait from these cards. Another, they take their assignments. They use these materials and make them into a game of their own. They set up by themselves. So this can also be an assignment for the students to do. You can ask them, for example, this game, Tokaido, it's about feudal Japan, right? But what happens if today my topic is about Europe? Today my topic is about America. We can use the same structure. We can use what these elements are the thing we want to present when we introduce someone on the tourism. We can give the subject, okay, I will present you to Tokaido. Now, each student will have a specific country you want to represent, and you go and find out which cards, which component that game should have. Okay, this can be a very good assignment for the students. Okay, so this part is the ratio between BG and ESP. So the rules learning part should be less than the teaching goal we want to complete. We want to teach them to play the game in the shortest time, to get to know, to interact with the materials in the fastest time. And these materials, these vocabularies, they also represent the students' basics. They should come with basic English ability, right? So these are the vocabularies they should know before they dive. What to add in the ESP part? We add in the vocabulary in the cards, in the playing cards, in the gaming board. We use the very professional words, the occupational specific vocabulary in our game. It will be very suitable because the whole game is about that topic. The situations, we assign students to be a specific role in this game. So one can be the manager, one can be the worker, and they have to work together. So we create a story that they can go through. And by doing so, we generate discussions. After playing, after experiencing the situations we created, they can discuss, they say, oh, how I feel about the game we just played. They can feel that it is very hard, experience comical depression. We can express our idea through the gaming component. Structure, like the stock market, like this one, it has a full process from start to finish. When we want to talk about this activity, we can just use the game. The game will provide you the whole structure. You can take any part from a board game session, maybe from start, maybe in the middle, maybe in the finish. You can take them out and you can make a specific discussion about it. The board game serves a very good structure.
So about your elementary school program, do you teach them in English, in Chinese, or in both?
For the basic courses, we want to teach them more games as possible, So the basic courses we teach them in Chinese. But for example, cram schools, they also contact us. They say they want a special topic. They don't want us just to let them learn about the games. So we would implement English into the games. We will implement math. We will implement like science or history into the topic. And so each course is unique. Each course can be tailor-made to your need. And for like English games, some cards they have words. They have words written on them, right? But what happens if my game doesn't have words on it? Because sometimes they want to make it more global. They want to make it language free so everyone can play it. But I want to teach English with this topic. So you could easily add in vocabulary in these words. And you can put in your game rules. So when you play this card, you have to say it. You have to say the word first. And then you have to say the connection between these things. So if I play the first one, I will say, I just ate a meal of udon. Okay? But if I play the second card, we can add in rules like, please compare your first meal to your second meal. In my opinion, the sashimi was colder than the udon, but it is more fresher than the udon. Yes. So this creates discussion. We want the students while playing to also play in English. No matter what their level of English are, Director Yang had a program, it's called English Board Game Session. So we would place a flag on the table, English table. This table only speaks English. And it's very good. Students from all across the department, from management department, from industrial department, from English department, they all come and join the session. And more people join. And each time we will play a different game in English. We will teach the game in English, and they will play the game in English. And we will assist them If they have something that they want to express, we would help them.
You mentioned about the painting?
Painting, yes.
From Hsinchu.
Yes.
So do you have this kind of board game?
Actually, a lot of games will involve around arts. Board game is a very good platform to portray and for people to admire the paintings. So either by the box cover, either by the cards, and also there are a lot of games about the paintings and creative as well, because the game will train you. The game is usually, this kind of game are usually played with pen and paper, and we will give each other a topic that you want to draw and to paint. So each time will be different, each assignment will be different. Yes.
What's the name of this game?
This game is called 肖老师的最后一堂课 The Last Lesson of Teacher Xiao. Yes. And each participant is art class. And through playing it, you will feel like you go back to student era. Actually, because when we were students, they were very old, small student desk. We want to make adult players to go back when they were students, when they were small. And so we add in a lot of like what happened when in the elementary school, maybe the bell rings, so everyone has to sit down tightly. Maybe military officer came over and we have to say, hello officer, it's in one of the cards. So by flipping the cards, you want to score the points, you have to do a certain action. And that action was what we used to do when we were small in elementary school students. Yes. We want to make the adult players remind them what they used to do when they were small. Yes. And about painting games, any games, yes. Okay, we threw a series of the cards. So each card will want you to do a specific things. For example, draw all the lines on your board. Draw a portrait of the person to your right. And we ask them to not erase what they've drawn. Because every painting is different. Every work is different. And by the end of the painting, because the painting composed of lines and sceneries from outside and the people, this kind of painting actually resembles the art style of Teacher Xiao. Teacher Xiao's art style is a lot closer to Picasso. 抽象, Impressionism. Yes. So by the end of the painting, we will ask the students, hey, have you noticed your paintings resembles a lot with Teacher Xiao's painting? Because these paintings, they're very hard to come by. Maybe they are scattered through all the museums, and not everyone can get to see it. But by playing the game, by sharing the game, you can get to know this artist. You can admire.
Charlie, I want to ask you a question. If I ask you a question, which game can I choose? Wow. Which games have you found to be very have worked very well with the students? I actually have more than one question, so I will just ask you the other question as well. My one question is, which games have you found, or which game have you found to be work very well with students? And then the second question I have is, do you have a plan to take your games to the digital platform? Because the digital platform is the digital media is very big these days, right? So, and then finally, are you, since you are an expert in this area, are you worried that when we take board games to the class, to academics, that the academics actually spoil the culture of board games and turn the board games into something very, very academic? So just those three questions: which board game or board games have you found have worked very well with students? And the second, the digital world. Do you have any plans for that? And the third one is: are you worried that professors, academics would take board games to their classes and actually negatively impact board gaming culture because of intellectualizing the whole process, adding more rules? Are you worried about that?
Okay, thank you, Joseph. I would choose the easiest, the simplest game as possible. And there's one I would like to mention. It's called Flux. F-L-U-X-X. This is a very simple game. It's called Flux. And like Love Letter, Flux has been made into a lot of different versions. So maybe there's Batman Flux, there's Cartoon Flux. And what this game plays is that this is a game that plays about structure of a game. The game doesn't have any game rules. It only has the simple one. There will be first card on the table. You say, on your turn, play one card. Okay, that's the first rule of this game. So, on your turn, play one card. And the more card you play on the table, the more rules you add into the game. So, maybe the new card you add in will modify the game completely. And this is the game that I find, which was initially introduced to me by the Intech Board Game Club teacher. This is a very open structure that everyone can use. We take the structure of the game, take the structure of Flux, and we add in the topic we want to use. And what's even better, you can add in what the topic function in the game. For example, if you add in, if you add in seasons, maybe spring would represent to draw more cards. If you add in like winter, maybe the rules on winter will be at the end of your turn, discard all your cards because they were blown away by the wind. Yes, so it is a very good game for us to put the topic, the academic part, onto the game, and it's very seamless. It can be played normally without problem. And about digital games, it is a lot of these games have already been made in the digital version, and it is far more convenient that when you want to play, maybe in midnight, maybe late at night, you want to play, you can instantly find someone to play with you. Maybe you live in a very far away place, and then you cannot find somebody to play with you. But through internet, you can find some other people from all across the world. So the digitalize of board game is inevitable, and it is a very good thing. And it doesn't limit the board game, because all the games, be it digital, be it on the cardboard, they can be simplified onto paperback version. Even the ones that played on the computer, maybe they have some difficult calculations, but you can actually simplify them onto a tabletop one. And actually, in fact, a lot of game designers, the first lesson they learn is to how to design the one that's unplugged, that doesn't require electricity, because your game has to be fun, to be playable on the tabletop level, and then to be good on the digital level. Yes. So I'm not afraid about the tabletop, the physical. They will still have the market. They will still have enthusiasm to play with it. Yes. Unless everyone goes into VR and we all sit with the unless that time, then all the stuff will be replaced by digital. Yes. Until then. Yes. And the third question is,
are you worried that when you bring board game culture to universities, that professors are going to turn it into another class, going to add lots of rules, Do you make it boring?
No, it's actually a very great thing, and that is why I came here is to invite all of you to approach, to try and bring board game to the class. And board game is an activity that has no bound of gender or community. Everyone, anyone can play board games, can play with printed ones, can play with handmade ones. You make games by yourself. Play with stones. Make a game from stones. Anyone, all the communities from all area. Board game is acceptable for all the community. So already a lot of professors and teachers, they already invest a lot of time and effort into academic and with board games. And I think that the worry you have for the game to be too academic, too about textbook, it can be modified, it can be polished, because the process of making a game is by testing, constantly adjusting, adding and subtracting elements. And I believe this is just a process that the professors, the teachers, they approach. And it's very good. They find, maybe they will find that my game is, how come I made a new game, but still students will sleep on my class? Maybe I will add more game element.
There are more questions.
All right.
I have a couple of questions, because the sorry, my name's Douglas. I'm from California University. I wonder if you're talking about setting up like a club room type of thing, but and that was my plan, because our university just gave us 10,000 NT to buy games, and so we bought 12 games, and they're sitting there, and we're going to make some events. But suddenly other teachers are asking us, well, how do we use this in our classroom? And so how do we do that? I mean, how do we go from something that you sit around the table with 4, 5, 6 people to a classroom of 25 people? How do you make that jump? And how do you do it all together with a big group of people? And then the second part of that is do you have any suggestions about language games? Because, you know, like I play Bananagrams and Scrabble and those kind of games, but the game group that I talked to in Taichung, the BGL, they said those games were kind of boring for students, so they gave us some ideas about games like this that have the instructions in English. So that's, you know, do you have any language-specific games, and how do you do this with 25 students in a classroom?
Okay, thank you very much, Douglas. That's the thing we want. One thing that we want to modify in games, because normally, if we want to play the game, one game could only support 5 people, right? So normally we want a lot of copy of the same game, right? But we cannot do that with other games. So we will modify, when we take a game, we will think if you can add more people to it. And, or if they can do it in a group, that will simplify a lot. So each player is actually a group of players. And they can discuss on their turn what their move is. And they can be more thoughtful about their each move. Yes. And the other is just simply take a game that supports more people. Yes. One game about the language English I would recommend is called Codenames. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah.
Codenames. Yes. So it is a game with a lot of cards.
I think you have that one.
And each card has a vocabulary on it. And so all these vocabulary cards are spread across the table. And we have 2 teams. We separate the cards in 2 teams. And each of them will have one to, they have to hint to their teammates which code name they want their teammates to guess. But at the same time, they cannot say straightforward what that word is. They have to say something that's related, something that's in connection with the word. So by playing the game, they come into contact with a lot of vocabularies, and they will brainstorm. They will think about which word I should use to best portray this another word. Yes, and also why I recommend this game is that it provides a lot of cards with vocabularies, right? And actually, you can take these cards and develop them into further other games. And actually, other published games, you can play it with the code names cards. Yes.
Do you have Dixit? Dixit, the game?
It's
a storytelling game.
I don't know. I was trying to access to this, but I don't have Wi-Fi. So we have. I think the one I recognize, we have something called Catan.
Yes.
It's like a role-playing game, and then I found one that where you wear little cards on your forehead, and so I don't know much about the games because they're very different from the kind of games that I would play in the U.S. So I didn't know anything. I went to the shop and asked, and I looked through. And my goal was to get games that had English instructions and boards, and a lot of the board games are German. So it was kind of, I had to just kind of choose that.
Yes.
The one I mentioned, I've taught that for several times in big classes, like 50, 40 students as well. But it's a very good game. It's storytelling, so you need to practice your listening and speaking. So basically, the storyteller needs to tell a story based on the image of the card. And then others need to give a guess. Like they didn't know what is the image of that story. And other competitors, they need to also provide a card that could match the story. And all the others later need to guess it out.
What's it called again?
Dixit.
Dixit, I know.
Dixit.
I think that one is a very good one for listening and speaking. And it works well, and students love that.
First of all, we've been doing it for years. We've been converting games for big classes. So if you're interested, we can share our experience with your viewers.
Cool.
Yes, that would be great. Because after this presentation, I would like to we can create a group and we can share what we've done while implementing, and we can exchange ideas.
Yes, that was one of my questions. How about creating an online community, and do you train outsiders? For example, if we send some teacher assistants to be trained, because we have a few games we haven't learned how to play yet, and we would like this kind of service if you could help us train our teacher assistants.
Yes, of course. I can come over and have a...
So yeah.
Any more questions?
So you had a club first.
Yes.
And that's how you got students involved. But some students aren't interested. So how do you draw in
when in university?
Yes.
When in the university, I started with students club. Students club, and we will have a budget from the students committee. But the other foundations to start is from the department, the school department, which is far more powerful because you can have space, you can have a classroom dedicated for this activity, and you have the teachers. The teachers will come over and they want to get involved. And you can also have students ask for, if there are students, they are interested and come and take the manager role of this place. Maybe on a weekly basis, they will come over and host a gathering. Yes, and the more and more they play with the games, the more and more ideas they can come up with. Yes, for the easy games, for the one like the one that put on the headband, you can replace the words or the characters on the headband, maybe with the roles of the company. Okay, so maybe one is a manager, one is worker, one is the boss, and the game would be so you cannot see who you are, and you have to ask the others. So what role, what job do I do? And the others will describe you. Okay, you force others to work. you work in the lowest organization chain, and you work day and night. And they will have idea, maybe I am someone, and they have to guess who they are. Yes. So you have the same component, but you can change how they are played. Yes.
So have you done with like multiple games happening at the same time? Because I realized that we ordered 12 different games, and I didn't think about getting 2 copies or 3 copies of one particular game, which maybe is the future direction. But can you manage, like, can one group of students do 3, 4 different games at the same time?
So there are 2 types of process. Or board game process. We teach them in 2 kinds. One is the whole class will play the same game, and we have a presentation about the main idea, the main topic. Everyone will follow the same. And the other is board game learning. So they learn how to play the games. And each table will play a different game, and then they will switch. So they learn. But by doing so, they experience more games, but you cannot quite get a central idea. Yes, and if you have only one game, and you want to use that game for the whole class, right? You can make props. You can make props for more people. That supports more people. Yes. And we also teach like kindergarten, and it's a whole other field, and so we have to simplify the rules to the easiest. Maybe no rule, maybe few rules at all, and the components maybe they are too small, so we will make exaggerated. We will expand the size of the gaming components, like the dice. The dice will be this big, and they will throw around the dice. And for kindergarten, we would want them to learn about taking turns, because at the age of 3 or 4, they just learn about taking turns. Yes, but most of the game they have to take turns. Some game they don't take turns. Everyone do at the same time. Yes. All right. And I would like to give a big thanks to DAFO and to all the teachers today, and to Director Yang for this opportunity to invite me to share the board game with us. I'm really flattered, and I really hope that the presentation today has given you some ideas and some approach that you can try on the teaching. Yes, thank you very much.
I want to say thank you to Charlie for coming all the way from Hsinchu to our university to give us a talk on board games. And I'm sure many of us felt that he didn't just present ideas, but he inspired us to a large degree. I felt I was going through a TED Talk in many ways. You are such a wonderful inspiration, and you have taught us who have so many years of experience in teaching so much. And I hope you will continue to come here and continue to spread your ideas about board games. I admire and appreciate your advocacy for not just board games, but for the board gaming culture, the kind of culture that surrounds board games. I think many of us can feel that there is a difference between an academic who has just learned about board games and is doing a research presentation, and someone who is regularly in the field and working at the grassroots with people. I think that's pretty clear to us. I hope to see you here again. I think many of us hope to see you here again. And it was just a pity we didn't have a chance to practice playing the game, because we were enjoying the discussion with you. That was meaningful as well. Thank you, Charlie. We have something we would like to give you. This is on behalf of our university, Yintech, as a sign of our appreciation. And there is also something else. But first, let's take a picture of our parents here.